You already know Gordon Ramsay is the man who can reduce a grown chef to tears over an undercooked scallop. But what most people don't know is that behind the Michelin stars, behind the television empires, and behind that permanently furious face sits one of the most jaw-dropping Ferrari collections on the planet. We are talking about a man who has spent millions, and we mean millions, on cars that go faster than anything a government thinks you should legally be driving on a public road. Who is Gordon Ramsay, really? Before we talk about the cars, let's talk about the man. Because understanding Gordon Ramsay is the only way to truly understand why his car collection looks the way it does. Gordon James Ramsay was born on November 8, 1966, in Johnstone, Scotland. He grew up in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, and if you expected a comfortable upbringing to go along with the future fame and fortune, think again. Ramsay has been brutally honest about a difficult childhood, a struggling family, a turbulent home life, and very little handed to him on a silver platter. Everything he has today, he built with his own two hands, and his own very loud mouth. Fast forward to today, and Gordon Ramsay is one of the most recognized faces on the entire planet. He holds an extraordinary 17 Michelin stars across his global restaurant empire. He hosts multiple television programs simultaneously: Hell's Kitchen, MasterChef, Kitchen Nightmares, and more. His production company generates content across multiple continents, and his net worth, conservatively estimated at around $500 million. Some reports push that figure even higher. Now, here is the thing about people who build that kind of wealth from absolute scratch. They develop obsessions, serious, expensive, unapologetic obsessions. And for Gordon Ramsay, one of those obsessions has always been speed. Ramsay is a trained triathlete. He has completed Ironman competitions, he cycles, he runs, he swims. The man is wired for performance and competition in every single area of his life. So, when it came time to spend some of that Michelin star money, did he buy a sensible family estate car? Absolutely not. He walked straight to the nearest Ferrari dealership and never really looked back. And here is where it gets interesting. Because Ramsay doesn't just own one Ferrari, he doesn't own two. He has built what many automotive enthusiasts consider one of the finest private Ferrari collections in the United Kingdom. Each car tells a story. Each car fits the man perfectly, and together they represent a collection that most people will only ever see through a screen, which, fortunately for you, is exactly what we are here for. How it all started, the first Ferrari. Every great collection has an origin story. And Ramsay's relationship with Ferrari didn't begin the moment he became famous. It began the moment he could finally afford to stop pretending he wasn't obsessed. Ramsay has spoken in interviews about his love of speed dating back decades. Long before the television deals and the restaurant empires, he was drawn to performance cars the way most people are drawn to things they absolutely cannot afford yet. He watched, he dreamed, he waited. And then the money came, and the first Ferrari followed shortly after. Ramsay's early acquisition was a Ferrari 355 F1, a car that needs absolutely no introduction to anyone who grew up reading car magazines in the 1990s. The 355 was produced from 1994 to 1999, and it represented Ferrari at perhaps its most emotionally pure. No paddle shifts borrowed from awkward early technology. No hybrid systems trying to prove a political point. Just a glorious 3.5-liter V8 engine mounted in the middle of a car so beautiful that grown men have been known to stand in car parks staring at one for an uncomfortable length of time. The F1 variant that Ramsay owned featured Ferrari's semi-automatic gearbox, a genuine technological marvel at the time that allowed the driver to change gears using paddles mounted behind the steering wheel. It sounds standard today. In the mid-1990s, it was science fiction. What this first Ferrari told us about Gordon Ramsay was everything. He didn't buy something sensible. He didn't buy something understated. He bought a car that screamed performance, demanded attention, and required complete commitment every single time you press the throttle. Sound like anyone we know? Well-maintained examples of the 355 today fetch anywhere between $80,000 and $130,000 at auction, depending on specification and history. But for Ramsay, this was just the beginning. Think of it as the starter course, and nobody puts more effort into the starter course than Gordon Ramsay. Ferrari La Ferrari, the hybrid hypercar. Now, we start getting into territory that separates serious collectors from everyone else. Because while plenty of wealthy people own a Ferrari, very few people on Earth own what we are about to discuss, the LaFerrari. Even the name is gloriously arrogant. It translates directly from Italian as simply the Ferrari, not a Ferrari, not our Ferrari, the Ferrari. As if Ferrari looked at every other car ever made, shrugged, and said, "Yes, but have you considered this?" Ramsay's ownership of a LaFerrari places him in extraordinarily rare company. Ferrari produced just 499 road-legal examples of the LaFerrari coupe when it was revealed at the Geneva Motor Show in 2013. Every single unit was pre-sold before the car was even officially unveiled. You could not walk into a Ferrari dealership and buy one. Ferrari chose you, and if Ferrari didn't already know your name and your purchase history, you were not getting a phone call. So, what exactly is the LaFerrari? It is Ferrari's first road car to use a hybrid powertrain. And before you imagine something quiet and responsible, let us be absolutely clear that Ferrari's interpretation of hybrid technology has nothing whatsoever to do with saving the planet. The LaFerrari combines a 6.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine producing 800 horsepower with an electric motor generating an additional 163 horsepower. Combined output is 963 horsepower. The 0 to 62 miles per hour time is under 3 seconds. The top speed exceeds 217 miles per hour. This is not a car. This is a philosophical statement. The LaFerrari that Ramsay owns is finished in a color specification that suits the man perfectly. Bold, unapologetic, and instantly recognizable. Ramsay has been photographed near the car on multiple occasions, and he does not look like a man who is pretending to enjoy himself. He looks like a man who has found one of his genuine happy places. At launch, the LaFerrari carried a base price of approximately $1,300,000. Today, at auction, examples have sold for between $3 million and $4 million. One particularly well-specified car crossed the auction block in recent years for over $4 million, making it one of the most valuable Ferraris in recent auction history. Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, the gentleman's weapon. Not every Ferrari in a great collection needs to be a hypercar with a waiting list that reads like a Hollywood guest registry. Some of the most important Ferraris in any serious garage are the ones you can actually drive, hard, every single day, without a team of engineers standing by with clipboards. Enter the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta. Produced from 2012 to 2017, the F12 Berlinetta was Ferrari's flagship front-engine Grand Tourer during that period. And when we say flagship, we are not being polite. We mean the car that made Ferrari engineers lean back in their chairs, look at what they had created, and quietly nod to themselves. The F12 is powered by a 6.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine, the same basic architecture as the LaFerrari unit, but tuned here for road use and producing 730 horsepower. That figure was, at the time of launch, the highest power output ever fitted to a road-legal Ferrari. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 3.1 seconds. The top speed is 211 miles per hour. What makes the F12 particularly fascinating in the context of Ramsay's collection is how it fits his personality. This is not a car for careful people. The F12 is described by virtually every automotive journalist who has ever driven one as demanding, communicative, and utterly rewarding, but only if you meet it halfway. If you are lazy at the wheel, the F12 will let you know about it immediately. If you are committed, focused, and willing to push, the car rewards you in ways that are genuinely difficult to put into words. Sound familiar? A chef who demands perfection from everyone around him, who runs his kitchens at an intensity that most people find genuinely intimidating, who has built an empire on the principle that good enough is never actually good enough. Of course he drives an F12 Berlinetta. Of course he does. New examples of the F12 were priced from approximately $320,000. Today, the market for clean, low-mileage examples sits comfortably between $180,000 and $250,000. Ferrari 458, Italia, the one that started the modern era. If you asked 100 Ferrari engineers to name the car they were most proud of in the modern era, the car that proved Ferrari had not lost its soul in the pursuit of numbers and technology, a significant number of them would say the 458 Italia. Launched in 2009 at the Frankfurt Motor Show, the 458 Italia replaced the beloved F430 and immediately caused something close to a collective automotive crisis. Because it was, simply put, almost too good. Critics ran out of superlatives. Journalists who had spent careers being professionally cynical about overhyped sports cars found themselves genuinely lost for negative words. The 458 is powered by a 4.5-liter V8 engine, hence the 458 name, producing 570 horsepower at a screaming 9,000 revolutions per minute. That red line, that engine note. There are people who have sat in stationary 458s in underground car parks just to hear what happens when you press the accelerator. We are not judging. We completely understand. Ramsay's 458 Italia represents the car that, for many people, defines what a Ferrari should fundamentally be. Mid-engined, naturally aspirated, visually spectacular, acoustically magnificent, and fast enough to rearrange your internal organs if you are not paying attention. The 458 also carries an interesting footnote in Ramsay's collection because it represents the accessible end of his Ferrari ownership. And we are using the word accessible in the loosest possible sense of the word, because new examples were priced from around $230,000. Today, clean examples fetch between $110,000 and $160,000. For context, that is still more than many people earn in 3 years, but by Ramsay collection standards, practically a bargain. Ferrari 599 GTO, the rarest road Ferrari of its generation. Here is where things get genuinely serious. The Ferrari 599 GTO is not a car that most people have heard of, and that is precisely the point. Ferrari produced just 599 examples of the 599 GTO globally, a number chosen deliberately to reference the original GTO of the 1960s, one of the most valuable and historically significant racing cars ever built. Every single example was allocated to existing Ferrari customers with proven purchase histories. You could not simply order one. You had to have earned the right. The 599 GTO was officially described by Ferrari as the fastest road car they had ever made at the time of its launch in 2010. It is based on the standard 599 GTB Fiorano, but with modifications so extensive that calling it a variant feels almost dishonest. The 6-liter V12 engine produces 670 horsepower. The car weighs significantly less than the standard model thanks to the removal of sound, deadening, air conditioning, and various other comforts that Ferrari deemed unnecessary given the intended purpose of the vehicle. The 0 to 62 time is 3.35 seconds. The top speed is 208 miles per hour. What the 599 GTO represents in automotive terms is a manufacturer deciding that their fastest road car should also be their most focused, most demanding, and most uncompromising road car. If you were looking for something comfortable and relaxing, Ferrari had other models for that. The GTO was for drivers, real ones. The original purchase price for the 599 GTO sat at around $385,000. Today, given the limited production numbers and the growing appreciation for naturally aspirated Ferrari, if 512 road cars, clean examples command anywhere between $500,000 and $700,000 at specialist auction houses. Ramsay's ownership of the 599 GTO is perhaps the single most telling indicator of what kind of car collector he truly is. This was not a car you bought to park in a showroom. This was a car you bought because you understood what it was, and you were prepared for it. Ferrari 488 Pista, when fast isn't fast enough. By this point in our tour of Ramsay's Ferrari collection, you might reasonably assume that the man has covered every possible version of fast already. You would be wrong. The Ferrari 488 Pista was introduced in 2018 and immediately established itself as one of the most aggressive, track-focused, road-legal Ferraris produced in recent memory. The word pista translates from Italian as track. Ferrari was not being subtle about the intended use case. The 488 Pista is powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.9-liter V8 engine producing 710 horsepower, which makes it the most powerful V8 engine Ferrari had ever put in a road car at that time. The aerodynamic package features components developed directly from Ferrari's motorsport program. The downforce generated at speed is significant enough to have a measurable effect on the car's handling characteristics. The carbon fiber body panels are lighter than those found on the standard 488. The exhaust system sounds like something that should require planning permission from your local council. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 2.85 seconds. Let that number sit for a moment. 2.85 seconds. From a standing start. In a road-legal car that you could theoretically park outside a Michelin-starred restaurant. Although we would strongly advise against leaving it unattended. The 488 Pista was priced from around $330,000 when new. The current market for clean examples runs between $280,000 and $350,000, with particularly low-mileage cars occasionally pushing even higher. In the context of Ramsay's collection, the Pista is the car that says something very specific. It says that having 6 other Ferraris was fine, but having a track weapon that you can also drive to the shops on a Tuesday morning, that is the real achievement. The garage, the lifestyle, the obsession. At this point, we need to step back for a moment, because it would be very easy to look at Gordon Ramsay's Ferrari collection purely as a list of cars and figures, but that would be missing the entire point. Ramsay's relationship with his cars mirrors his relationship with his restaurants, his television programs, and his professional life in general. It is not casual, it is not for show. It is deeply personal and genuinely passionate. He has spoken in various interviews about the mental clarity he finds behind the wheel of a fast car. For a man whose working life involves managing multiple international businesses simultaneously, overseeing hundreds of staff members across multiple time zones, filming multiple television series, and maintaining a public profile that requires constant engagement. The inside of a Ferrari cockpit represents something genuinely rare: silence. Or something close to it, given the exhaust note. What is particularly interesting about Ramsay's collection compared to many celebrity car collections is the specificity. He did not simply buy expensive things because he could afford expensive things. He chose Ferrari almost exclusively. He stayed loyal to a single manufacturer across multiple decades and multiple millions of pounds of investment. That kind of focused, deliberate loyalty tells you something important about the man behind the collection. He also actually drives his cars. This sounds obvious, but in the world of ultra-luxury automobile collecting, it is genuinely not. There are collections valued at tens of millions of dollars where every single vehicle is stored in climate-controlled facilities and driven for precisely 0 miles per year in order to preserve auction value. Ramsay's cars show evidence of actual use, which, frankly, is the correct approach. A Ferrari that never moves is not a Ferrari. It is a very expensive sculpture. And Gordon Ramsay is not in the sculpture business. The most expensive car in the collection, the grand reveal. We promised you a reveal. Here it is. The most valuable car in Gordon Ramsay's Ferrari collection, and by a considerable distance, is his LaFerrari. And we want to give you the full picture of exactly what that means in terms of real-world money. When Ramsay acquired his LaFerrari, examples were leaving the factory at approximately $1,300,000. That was the starting point. From there, virtually every customer specified their car, extensively using Ferrari's tailor-made personalization program, a service that allows buyers to customize almost every conceivable element of the vehicle's interior and exterior finish for additional cost. Meaningful additional cost. So, the actual purchase price of a fully specified LaFerrari at delivery almost certainly exceeded $1,500,000. Quite possibly more. But here is where the story becomes genuinely extraordinary. Because the LaFerrari, like all truly limited production, Ferraris from significant periods, has appreciated dramatically since its production run ended. The most recent high-profile auction results for LaFerrari coupes have seen examples sell for between $3 million and $4 million. One particularly significant example crossed the block at well over $4 million, representing an appreciation of roughly 300% on the original purchase price. For context, Rowan Atkinson's McLaren F1, that other legendary British celebrity supercar story, sold for $12.2 million at auction. Jay Leno's McLaren F1 is estimated at around $12 million. The LaFerrari is not quite in that stratospheric territory yet, but give it time. Limited production, naturally aspirated V12, last of a certain kind of Ferrari philosophy. The trajectory is only pointing in one direction. What makes Ramsay's LaFerrari particularly valuable from a collector's perspective is that it represents something genuinely irreplaceable. Ferrari has moved into a turbocharged era. The naturally aspirated V12 road car, in the form that the LaFerrari represents it, is finished. It will not come again. Every year that passes makes surviving examples more historically significant and more financially valuable. Gordon Ramsay, whether by instinct or design, acquired one of the most important Ferraris of the modern era, and currently, his LaFerrari is conservatively valued at somewhere between $3 and $4 million, sitting in a garage, wearing a Ferrari badge, waiting for the next time its owner decides he needs to clear his head. And there you have it. Gordon Ramsay, the man who has spent 40 years telling other people their food is not good enough, has quietly assembled one of the finest private Ferrari collections in Britain. From the 355 that started the whole obsession, through the F12 Berlinetta, the 458 Italia, the brutally rare 599 GTO, the track-focused 488 Pista, and all the way to the LaFerrari sitting at the very top of the collection like a Michelin star that happens to cost $4 million and sounds like the end of the world at full throttle. What this collection tells us, more than anything else, is that Gordon Ramsay's deepest obsession has never really been about food. Food is the profession. The restaurants are the empire. But speed, raw, unfiltered, Italian speed, that is the passion. And when a man who has built a $500 million fortune from pure relentless drive decides to pursue something with absolutely zero compromises, you get exactly this. A garage full of prancing horses that would make most collectors weep with envy. Every car in this collection was chosen with the same philosophy Ramsay applies to everything. Only the best, only the most demanding, and absolutely nothing that could be described as ordinary. You get the feeling that if a Ferrari ever disappointed him, he would send it back to Maranello with a handwritten note explaining exactly what went wrong. And Gordon, if you are somehow watching this, the collection is perfect, truly exceptional. But between you and us, we still think you are missing a Porsche. Actually, forget we said that.